Okay. I'm going to say something here. Trump is insane, and on other obvious levels deranged. Now, insanity and derangement don't necessarily go hand in hand. In the past, Trump acted more normal-like, but there was always that thing about him when I watch older footage of him talking to people. There was something mischievous about the man. Now, one more thing before I continue on here. I am Canadian. Born in Canada. Living in Canada, have always lived in Canada. Only going to the States for to Disney World and some events which I'm not really going to sporting events. Let's ask ourselves a question. What state of mind would we be required to be in to believe that January the 6th was not an attempted insurrection by Donald Trump and his administration, including the ones that broke down or broke into the American Capitol? Reason I pose this question in this way is so that we can understand the mentality of the people we're dealing with. And those same people are part of the reason Trump was re-elected. A part of the reason people worked so hard to get Trump's criminal charges, etc., put aside or considered to be of lesser importance due to the fact that he was running for office again. And the man gets re-elected despite of what I would personally call the dream team, Harris and her vice president. I thought they were perfect. Yet we have people who voted for Trump, and it was disgusting. We have a problem in the world besides Trump that no one's really looking into. They're going on about the destruction of the Gaza, which was the direct result of the policies of Hamas that carried out the attack on Israel. And Israel said enough, no more attacks on our people. And they are cleaning up the Gaza and any other parties attached to the Gaza government. Unfortunately, innocent people die in a war, and nobody likes that. Look, big picture here, Russia and Vladimir Putin. Putin is walking over former breakaway Soviet republics. The Soviet Union broke apart in 1991. I do believe it was. And since then they've been working on putting on a good face, saying, no, we're no longer this, we're no longer the Soviet Union. Yada, 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 and yet behind the scenes, and quite frankly right in everyone's face, they've been interfering in the governments of former breakaway republics. And more recently, the governments of European nations, getting through manipulations, through seditious means, politicians into power that support Russia. The Kremlin, in other words. There are countries in Europe that were once democracies, and now are buddy-buddy with Russia, former breakaway. Soviet republics that have lost their independence. Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Russia figured they could just walk over, take the resources of the Ukraine, which they desperately need in order to continue their plans to retake former breakaway Soviet republics and re-establish the Soviet Union, or at least something very similar. People don't realize this. Now, Donald Trump is nothing more than a convenient idiot for Putin and that regime in Russia to manipulate. Let's not forget that Trump has a copy of Mein Kampf on his mantle, and people are saying Donald Trump was chosen by God. There's another thing. You've got people out there that claim to speak for God, and will stand there and call for the murder of innocent LGBTQ and S people. They want to take away the right of marriage. Yes, here in Canada, They want to do that. There are crazies. And in the States, you've got Trump. And that crazy governor in Florida. Bottom line here is how many people realize that the world that we have witnessed develop into a more moderate form, well, not moderate form, but a form of government or life in which we can be respected for who we are. We are seeing that system being eroded, destroyed from so many different angles. I hope I made a point. The mic is free.
Is history repeating itself back? In the 1930s, we had Hitler and the Nazi, and Benito Mussolini, plus the Grand Mufti of Palestine, all played their part in the Holocaust of the Second World War. The Nazi, rounding up Jewish people and anyone else they considered undesirables, pushed them into areas declared to be ghettos, treating people forced into the area as second and lower classes of people, even daring to suggest that they were not fully human. Hitler and the Nazi and their final solution, that trainload of kids that the Grand Mufti of Palestine sent to the death camps. All of this is just the worst doings and state of minds of those involved. As the Second World War ended and the death camps were discovered, all the bodies, these piles and piles of them, men, women, and children, some were worked to death. Thousands starved to death or mere death. Others were gassed and bodies headed to crematoriums, or skeletal remains found in the cremation chambers. The bigotry towards Jews and gypsies and homosexuals existed in abundance and was worsened. A scary reflection to modern society's attitude. It's all getting ready to start all over again. Putin is planning on conquering Ukraine and then retake the former breakaway republics that were part of the Soviet Union. Hitler walked over Europe, did the Holocaust, murdering millions during the Second World War. Damn fools today blame Israel for defending itself. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. Putin in Russia has banned everything to do with LGBT people. Former breakaway republic of Chechnya has been running a World War II death camp where they are murdering gay people. This has been going on for a decade. The world has both been blind and willfully ignorant of the reality of another Holocaust. Trump in the States, re-elected again, is a damn fool, more interested in grabbing women's private parts than being a leader. Putin knows that the world doesn't want World War III. Either Putin will walk over Europe and rebuild the Soviet Union, or the world will stand up and save Ukraine. But what about the reality that fascism is on the rise? Hatred towards LGBT people! And that Holocaust continues. Do you give a damn? Just like the German citizens who know about the trains going in and out of the death camps, they kept to themselves.
Go yesterday, decide that you don't care.
Where it's all going, then you are no different than the Germans who told the world, we just might.